Good evening, sir, and to my colleague, Miss Crispel Largosa. Good evening. So, our topic is all about Japan and the economic of Japan. So, next slide, miss, please. The geography of Japan. Japan is an island nation located in East Asia and the Pacific Ocean. It consists of a group of islands, including the four main islands of Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Shikoku, as well as many smaller islands. Japan is situated to the east of the Korean Peninsula and Russia to the north of Taiwan and China. So, when it comes to the mountains of Japan, Japan is known. Next slide, miss. So when it comes to the mountains of Japan, Japan is known for its rugged and mountainous terrain. The Japanese Alps, located in the central part of Honshu, are a prominent mountain range, and also the Mount Fuji, an iconic symbol of Japan, is the country's highest peak, standing at 3,776 meters or 12,389 feet. And when it comes to its volcanoes, um, nakalimot kog include sa picture sa mga volcanoes, but I will discuss na lang. So when it comes to the volcanoes in Japan, Japan is situated along the Pacific Ring of Fire, which makes it prone to volcanic activity. Actually, there are over 100 active volcanoes in the country, including atong Mount Aso in Kyushu and Mount Ontaki in Honshu. And when it comes to its rivers and lakes, Japan has numerous rivers and lakes that provide freshwater resources and scenic beauty. And actually, the longest river is the Shinano River, which flows through central Honshu. And Lake Biwa, located in Shiga Prefecture, is the largest lake in Japan. And its coastal areas, the coastal areas of Japan, with its extensive coastline, Japan has a diverse range of coastal landscapes. The inland sea or the Seto Naikai separates Honshu and Shikoku, and it is dotted with numerous small islands. Japan also has several sandy beaches, especially along the Pacific coast. So, as you can see in the map earlier, Japan is surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, the Sea of Japan, the East China Sea, and the Philippine Sea. These bodies of water have played a significant role in Japan's history and culture, particularly in relation to fishing trade and defense. So these geographic features contribute to Japan's rich natural beauty, diverse ecosystems, and unique cultural heritage. The country's geography has also influenced its history, economy, and lifestyle. So, I call on my colleague Miss Largosa to continue the discussion. That's all for the geography of Japan.
Thank you, Miss Sendo. So this is the basic information of Japan. So the capital city of Japan is Tokyo. So it is also the largest city in the country with a population of over 13 million people. And Japan also the language or the official language of Japan is Japanese, and it is spoken by the vast majority of the population. However, English is also widely spoken and understood, especially in major cities and tourist destinations. And when it comes to population of Japan, as of May 2, 2023, Japan has 125 million 384,759 people that is in Japan. So when it comes also to the currency, the official currency of Japan is the yen. So makita ninyo siya sa among we provided picture there. So kayang money nga kuan is nga na ang nga na ang yen. And also, when in the government, also, Japan has this type of government which is the constitutional monarchy. Where Japan is a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary system of government. So the emperor is the symbolic head of state, while the prime minister is the head of the government. And their religion is Shintoism and Buddhism. This too is also the major religions in Japan. However, many Japanese people also practice a combination of both religions or no religion at all. When it comes to their climate, the Japan's climate is a humid subtropical. It has a temperate climate with four distinct seasons, which are summer, winter, and snowy with many parts of the country. And last is their national flower, which is the sakura or the cherry blossom. So that's it for the basic information of Japan. So the next one is a brief history of Japan, which will be discussed by Miss Sendo.
Okay, so thank you, Miss. So next slide, please. So prehistory. So may I request nga, pwede basahon Miss Largasa? Thank you.
So prehistory. Archaeological evidence suggests that humans have inhabited the Japanese archipelago since prehistoric times, with the earliest known human settlements dating back to around 30,000 BCE. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Miss. So prehistoric Japan refers to the period before the introduction of written records in the country. It is divided into three major periods: the Paleolithic period, and then followed by the Jomon period and the Yayoi period. But here in prehistory, let's focus on the Paleolithic period, which is around 40,000 BCE to 10,000 BCE. So during the Paleolithic period, the Japanese archipelago was inhabited by hunter-gatherers communities. Archaeological evidence suggests that these early settlers relied on hunting, fishing, and gathering wild plants for survival. They use stone tools such as hand axes and scrapers, and evidence of their habitation has been found in caves and open air sites. The next slide, please. So, here in ancient Japan, there na belong ang Jomon period o ang Yayoi period. So, the Jomon period is named after the distinctive pottery that characterizes this era. It is the longest prehistoric period in Japan, and it's further divided into several phases. The Jomon people live in small, semi-sedentary communities and engage in hunting, fishing, and gathering, but they also practice rudimentary agriculture. Their pottery, decorated with cord markings, or Jomon means cord pattern, and is known for its artistic and functional qualities. The Jomon period also witnessed the development of more complex social structures and the emergence of regional cultural variations. And the next one is the Yayoi period. The Yayoi period marks a significant transition in Japan as the culture shifted from a predominantly hunting and gathering lifestyle to an agricultural society. It is believed that migrants from the Asian continent brought new technologies, including wet rice cultivation, bronze and iron tools, and weaving techniques. The Yayoi period saw the establishment of permanent settlements, the emergence of social stratification, and the formation of political entities. So this period also witnessed contact with neighboring cultures, particularly the Korean Peninsula, leading to the introduction of new ideas and cultural influences. So the period in Japan laid the foundation for subsequent developments in the country's history. The Jumon and the Yayoi cultures provided the basis for the emergence of the Japanese civilization, shaping its early social, cultural, and economic practices. Archaeological discoveries and studies of ancient artifacts continue to contribute to our understanding of Japan's prehistoric past. So, next slide, please. So, now we are in Imperial Japan. May I request Miss to read the slide? Thank you.
So Imperial Japan in 710 and 1868. So Japan's imperial era began in 710 CE when Emperor Jimmu ascended to the throne. During this period, the emperor and the imperial court held significant political power, and the country developed a unique culture heavily influenced by China. In the late 16th century, Japan was unified under the rule of the powerful daimyo, or the feudal lords, Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who established the Tokugawa shogunate that would rule Japan for over 250 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. So, sorry for the background noise, Day. So, Imperial Japan refers to the period in Japanese history when the country was under the rule of an emperor and pursued an expansionist and militaristic agenda. So, next slide, please. So, we are now in Meiji period. So, here in Meiji period, na dire ang the Meiji Restoration, nabilong dire ang katong Meiji Restoration, mark as wherein ang Meiji Restoration mark a significant political and social transformation in Japan. It led to the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and the restoration of the imperial rule under Emperor Meiji. The Meiji government initiated a series of reforms to modernize Japan, including the abolishment of feudalism, the establishment of a centralized bureaucracy, sorry for that, the adaptation of Western legal systems, and the promotion of industrialization. So next slide, please. Okay, thank you, Miss. So now we are in the World War II. So, bilong gihapon ning World War II sa Imperial Japan, pero gilahi lang nako siyang slide. So, Imperial Japan's aggressive expansionist policies ultimately led to its involvement in World War II. In the 1930s, Japan invaded Manchuria. By the 1931, invade sa Japan ng Manchuria, and later launched a full-scale invasion of China by 1937, leading to the Second Sino-Japanese War. Leading to the Second Sino-Japanese War. In 1941, Japan attacked the United States Pacific Fleet and Pearl Harbor, drawing the US into the war. Imperial Japan formed the Axis powers with Germany and Italy. The war brought immense devastation both to Japan and its neighboring countries, and culminated in Japan's surrender in 1945 after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So next slide, please. May I request Miss to read the slide?
So post-war Japan from 1945 up to present. So following World War II, Japan underwent a period of reconstruction and economic growth that propelled it to become the world's second largest economy by the 1980s. Japan's post-war era has also been marked by significant social and cultural changes, including the rise of youth culture, the women's movement, and the growing concerns over environmental issues. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Miss. So, following Japan's surrender, the country was occupied by Allied forces, primarily led by the United States. The occupation brought about significant political, economic, and social reforms. So, na a new constitution known as the Post-War Constitution or Constitution of Japan was enacted in 1947, establishing Japan as a democratic nation. The country underwent a process of demilitarization, political restructuring, and democratization. The era of Imperial Japan had a profound impact on Japan's trajectory and its relationship with the world. It witnessed rapid modernization, imperial expansion, and ultimately the consequences of war. So today, Imperial Japan remains an important chapter in Japanese history, shaping the country's post-war identity and political framework. So that's all for the history of Japan. So the next topic will be discussed by Miss Largasa. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Joanna. So we will be talking about Japan's human in HDI, GDP, literacy rate, fertility rate, birth rate, poverty rate, and its education. So the first one is Human Development Index. So Japan's HDI as of 2021 is 0.925, which is considered very high human development. So as you can see in the graph, that given siya sa 2014 up to 2021 is that Japan's Human Development Index has really ning taas jud siya pag abot sa 2021. So, Japan's GDP or I before the before the I will proceed is that why Japan has has a high human development index. So Japan has a high HDI. It's because Japan is a highly developed country with adequate healthcare services, sufficient transport system, and a growing economy. They also have clean water, and most importantly, they have their own healthy lifestyle. So that's why Japan has a high human development index. So when it comes to their GDP or the gross domestic product, Japan's GDP as of 2021 is approximately 4 and 941 trillion US dollars. Japan's GDP, as what I said, is very high, and it makes Japan as the third largest economy in the world after United States and China. So when it comes to the literacy rate also, Japan's literacy rate as of 2021 is 99%. So the literacy rate of Japan is almost 100% because of I mean the latest this data is this data is from 2021. So also when it comes to the fertility rate, the fertility rate for Japan in 2021 was 1.368 births per woman and 0.7 0.7% decline from 2020. So why Japan has a low fertility rate? So the reason behind one of the reasons why Japan's fertility rate is low is that they have to work their work culture and work life balance is very this is very hectic man good. As we all know, Japan is known for its demanding work culture, characterized by long working hours and limited work-life balance. So the intense work environment can make it challenging for individuals to balance their professional and personal lives. So the pressure to prioritize work commitments often leads to a delay in marriage and childbirth as individuals struggle to find a balance between career and aspirations and a family life. So that is also one of the reasons why Japan Japan's fertility rate is low since they have to prioritize their work because of the pressure also. That's why they tend not to have family because of the pressure and also kanang lagi known sila as kanang work with sila. So when it comes to birth rate, so their birth rate also is as of 2021 was 7.205 births per 1,000 people. So 1.31% decline from 2020. So kay ang ilang fertility rate is low. So it means ang birth rate po nila is low. So when it comes to their poverty rate, Japan's poverty rate stands at 15.7%. So this is according to the latest figures from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So in their education, so in Japan, 55% of the 25 to 34 years old had a tertiary qualification in 2021. So when you say tertiary qualification, it's not necessarily mga college degree. So that's why also as we all know, Japan has a highly educated population with a strong emphasis on academic achievement. So the education system also is very rigorous and highly competitive. That's why kind of ila yung education is very kayo high ang ila when it comes to people nga naay college degree. So that's it for Japan's HDI, GDP, literacy rate, fertility rate, birth rate, poverty rate, and their education. So the next one is the economic situation, which will be discussed by Ms. Sanda.
Thank you, Miss. So next slide, please. Okay, so we are now in the economic situation, and first is human capital. Japan has a highly educated and skilled workforce with a strong emphasis on education and training. The country has a high literacy rate and a high percentage of the population has completed tertiary education. The Japanese education system is known for its rigor and emphasis on math and science education. So, if ever nagwonder mo nga, nganong a country like Japan is rich although dili siya rich og natural resources. So, the answer is Japan is a country where there are almost no natural resources, yet it is a developed country. They have to import all the natural resources from other countries. The main idea of its development is that it invested in human resource of the country. They invested in people's education and health mainly. Human resource acquired skills and knowledge and made efficient use of other resources like land and physical capital. Increased efficiency of educated and healthy people made Japan develop. So next slide please. Okay, so thank you, Miss. So now we're in physical capital of Japan. So Japan has a well-developed infrastructure with modern transportation systems, including an extensive network of highways, railways, and airports. The country also has a large and modern manufacturing sector, particularly in the areas of electronics, automobiles, and machinery. Japan is also a major player in the global financial markets. So, sorry. Japan. Sorry for that. Japan features one of the most modern transportation infrastructures in the world. The country has 97 airports, 8 of which ang country is nasa 97 airports, dayon 8 adto is nag-generate of profit. The people of Japan are benefiting from fast, efficient, and innovative transportation networks and systems that allow them to travel in the fastest and easiest way as possible. So, why Japan has good infrastructure? So, given that the country is prone to natural disasters such as earthquakes, typhoons, and heavy rain and snowfall, Japanese companies have mastered the skills and technologies required to work on a variety of infrastructure that is not only resilient but also adaptable to various geographical conditions. So, um, what type of infrastructure does Japan have, the eye? So, Japan features, ay sorry for that. Um sa Japanese automotive industry na day. Nibalik ko to. So, let's proceed to the automotive sa Japan. So, ato di ay kuan updated December 19, 2017. Ang Japan has been one of the world's top 3 car-producing countries since the 1960s, securing its status as a world leader in automotive manufacturing and technology. Some of its most well-known global brands belong to the automotive industry. People all around the world are familiar with Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mitsubishi, Subaru, Daihatsu, Fuso, Hino, Mazda, Lexus, and many more. So katong mga gipang mention, they belong to the country's most katong gipang mention is dito to siya sa Japan tanan na imbento. So they belong to the country's most famous exports, and what is more, Japanese automotive components can be found in cars being manufactured on 6 continents. In fact, no, automotive-related manufacturing takes up 89% of the country's largest manufacturing sector. The transportation machinery industry, automotive components, and vehicles account for 18% of all manufacturing shipments in Japan. So, dito na punta sa ilahang kuan, sa ilang nganong high-tech na jud ang Japan, or ang ilang mga technology ba is amo advanced na jud. So it's no secret that Japan is the land of unique and excellent electronic appliances. So since the 1980s, during Japan's unparalleled economic growth, the country has gained a reputation as the cutting edge of technology. Many electronics and high-tech brands, starting with Sony, Canon, Toshiba, and Panasonic, to name a few, have forged a solid international reputation. Japanese companies are particularly successful in the fields of photography, video, and audio, and more recently in robotics. So, ang Japan is very advanced na gid sila. So kaning atong um mga electronics nato nga like kaning mga Casio bitaw um kaning Canon, ah 'di ba kani siya camera or printers basta kay mga nindot og kuan ba mga nindot og output, kaning Casio is mahal po ni siya nga type of relo. Didto gyapon ni siyang corporation ni na dito sa Japan. Corporation based in Shibuya. So kaning Casio is famous for its digital watches, especially with the models in its G-Shock series, 'di ba? Mupalit ang G-Shock karon is very expensive gid siya. And also kaning mga brand nga kuan, ning mga Sharp, Sony, Toshiba, Yamaha. So kuan gina sila naa sila dito famous kaayo ilang mga company sa Japan. So that's all for the physical capital, no? So now let's proceed to the natural resources of Japan. Next slide, please. So thank you, Miss. So Japan has limited natural resources, which has led to a heavy reliance on imported resources, particularly oil and gas. However, the country does have some mineral resources such as coal and copper, and is a major fishing nation. So as what I've said earlier nga, ang Japan is dili gid sila rich og natural resources, nagrely sila more on sa import. Pero developed country sila. So Japan has always been described as a country with virtually no major natural resources such as natural gas, oil, gold, coal, copper, and iron. The country depends on imported raw material and energy. In fact, um, Japan is the largest importer of liquefied natural gas and coal, and the second largest importer of oil in the world. So, um, um, talking about the forestry in Japan, uh, di ba ang Japan has small and land area approximately 145,937 square miles. The land is mainly covered with forest. I mean, katong akong gi-mention nga 145,937 square miles is moto ang na-cover sa forest. So approximately 68.2% of the Japanese land is under the forest cover. Um, the forests in Japan have high quality and wide varieties of trees. 40% of the forests in the country are planted forests. The forests were planted in the years following the Pacific War with the aim of providing construction material. However, the following rapid economic growth experience, the country switched from wood material to concrete material. Moreover, imported wood was relatively cheaper and more attractive compared to the locally harvested wood. Most of the man-made forests remain largely untouched and so dense that they uh, require thinning. They are mainly located on steep mountains and contain cedar and cypress. So when it comes to the fisheries in Japan, fish is considered the main natural resource of Japan. The territorial waters of Japan and its exclusive economic zone is the sixth largest in the world, covering approximately 4.5 million square kilometers. Fishing has been a major economic activity in Japan. The country has been known for deep sea fishing and whaling. However, following the 1973 energy crisis, fishing in Japan declined with annual catch averaging 2 million tons in the 1980s. During the same period, offshore fishing accounted for 50% of the total catch. Both the domestic and overseas fishing in Japan has always been centered in the Tsukiji Fish Market, Tokyo. The fish market is one of the largest wholesale fish markets in the world, especially for frozen, processed, and fresh fish. Japan has over 2,000 fishing ports, including Utaro, Nagasaki, Kushiro, and Abashiri. Japan is also one of the few nations that are involved in commercial whaling. The country is a member of the International Whaling Commission. Japan conducts whaling in both pelagic areas of the Southern Ocean and North Pacific Ocean. So when we talk about pelagic whaling, um, it consists of a number of ships that hunt and process whale catch as well as protecting the hunt against the protest. The species of whales hunted by the Japanese fleet include sperm whales, mink, humpback, western gray, and northern fin whale. The Japanese whaling has been a source of conflict between Japan and the anti-whaling organizations and countries. However, Japan has insisted that whaling is purely for scientific research. So when it comes pod in the agricultural land of Japan, agriculture and fishing are the primary sectors of the Japanese economy man. So however, only 20% of the total land area is suitable for cultivation and agricultural sector is highly subsidized. The share of arable land has fallen gradually over the years, but farming still remains a major economic activity. There are approximately 4 million farm households in Japan, of which the majority of the farm households are engaged in other activities other than farming. However, the available land is cultivated intensively. Most of the rice paddies are common in the countryside, especially on alluvial plains, wetland, and terrace slopes. So I think that's all for the natural resources. So next slide, please. May I request Miss to read the slide, please? Thank you.
Technological advancement. So Japan is known for its technological innovation and is a world leader in the development of electronics, robotics, and advanced manufacturing processes. The country also has a strong focus on research and development, particularly in the areas of biotechnology, nanotechnology, and renewable energy. So,
Okay, so thank you, Miss. So, ang Japan di ay is sila ang pero bitog sila ang nag-lead bitaw sa technology no where more sige, Japan has become the leading technological power. So, all technological advancements that Japan has made among time were a solution to the problems that the country and its population were facing. Japan was one of the first countries to understand the true power of technology and has embraced its benefits. Therefore, the country has started to invest in technological innovation early in time. That is how nowadays Japan is qualified as one of the most powerful tech giants all over the world. High-tech Japan has brought the best technology to casinos pod. So, um, let's start with the fast infrastructure. So the perhaps the most well-known aspect of the technological innovation which can be found in Japan is its fast infrastructure. The first high-speed train or so-called bullet train was built in Japan. The line was built between two massive hubs, Tokyo and Osaka, and was inaugurated in 1964. The high-speed train has carried around 10 billion riders since its inauguration and has an incontestable record of safety as there have not been any fatal derailments or collision. The delay of the high-speed train is 36 seconds. The so-called Shinkansen is not only an outstanding symbol of Japan's technological innovation and efficiency, but it has also brought notable benefits to the economy of the country. So now let's proceed to the workforce automation. So in the last several years, robots have become a must-have solution to the chronic labor shortage. Japan's overall population has started to decline rapidly, which has created a problem in the labor market. So nowadays, robots which are able to perform jobs in almost every industry have become a must. So imbis nga tao ang motrabaho, so ang gipuli nila is a robot. Moreover, business automation with robots and artificial intelligence triggers improved product quality and productivity, which allows companies to stay ahead of their competition. So therefore, the association of Japan or of Japanese labor force with robotics has brought success and large gains in industrial productivity. So, napari ko i-include, no, let's proceed to the environmental problem solved with technological. There is no doubt that nowadays, every country is dealing with heavy environmental problems, from global warming to extreme heavy pollution and extreme weather changes are all affecting countries from all over the world. However, Japan struggled to environmental problems for a long time, which has influenced them to seek solutions for them with technology innovation. So, para sa giingon ako ganiha nga kani di ang technology nga technological advancement nila is ilang um so ila bitang gigamit para sa nag-exist nila nga problema like ilang gigamit ang technology para naay solution sa problem nga gina-face sa ilahang country. Like sa kanang kuan sa katong bitong um dik sana siya? Sorry for that. Kana bitong ang labor bitaw kay 'di ba nagkuan sila og katong mas daghan ang death kaysa sa birth rate. So mo to nga um nagkahin ay I can't explain. Kana bitaw ang motrabaho sa industry is kaning dili bitaw um ah dili bitaw siya dili sibo day ang population sa ilahang industry. That's why nga nag-create sila nagkuan sila nag-imbento sila og mga robot para mopuli sa mga kuan tawo nga nagtrabaho sa industry. Sorry for the interruption. So I think that's all for the technological advancement of Japan.
So Japan's best economic practices. So Japan has a unique economic system that has helped the country achieve significant growth over the past few decades. So here are some of the best economic practices of Japan. So the first one is a long-term perspective. So Japan's companies and government take a long-term perspective when it comes to planning and investment. So this has allowed them to make a long-term investments in infrastructure, research and development, which have helped the country's economy to grow over the years. So when you say long-term perspective, so ila jud ang giplanuhan ang ila ang planning and investment like dili siya short term but long term jud ang pag-planning nila and also ang ila pong investment is more on the infrastructure, research and development. So this type of economic practices nila really help them to be really help their economy to grow over the years. So the next one is consensus based decision making. So Japan's decision making process is based on achieving consensus among stakeholders. So so this type of economic practices this ensures rather that decisions are made after careful consideration of all perspectives, and by that everyone is on board with the decision. So as what I said, so this type of their economic practice rather sorry. So this economic practice has helped Japan to avoid the type of gridlock and polarization that often plague other countries. So that's for the consensus-based decision making. So the next one is education and training. So Japan places a high value on education and training. Its workforce is highly educated and well trained, which has helped the country to achieve a high level of productivity and innovation. So as what I've said ganina sa ilaang education, 'di ba, uh, mostly jud sa ilang mga people dito is has kuan jud nindot ang education because they really invest more on the kuan kanang education sa people that and also as what Miss Joanna said na they really uh put put effort when it comes to human capital. So this type of economic practices which has helped the country to achieve lagi high high level of productivity and innovation. And also, education is accessible to everyone, which is why it ensures that everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. So the next one is innovative technologies. So Japan is known for its innovative technologies, particularly in the areas of robotics and electronics. So this type of economic practices in Japan really help their country to remain competitive in the global economy and to continue to grow and develop. So that's it for the innovative technologies. So the next one is a strong work ethic. So Japan has a strong work ethic with workers often putting in long hours and taking pride in their work. So this this kaning economic practice nila. So that helps us a country to achieve high levels of productivity and to remain also competitive in the global market. So as we all know, ang Japan jud is known jud siya nga grabe kina sila mo take pride when it comes to their work, which is why baya isa sa reason why their birth rate and fertility rate is low, it's because they invest really more time in their work na to the point na they kanang na wala na nila na plano ang ilang marriage. That's why. So the next one is the strong social safety. So Japan has a strong social safety net with universal health care and comprehensive pension system. So as what I've mentioned earlier nga, that the reason why Japan has a high human development index because of their healthcare, diba? So this is also one of their economic practices like that this type of nila practice is this has helped to ensure that everyone has access to basic healthcare and retirement benefits, which has also helped to reduce poverty and inequality. So the next one is the government support. So Japan's government has provided significant support to businesses, particularly in the form of subsidies and tax breaks. So this has helped to encourage investment and growth in key industries, so which has helped to drive the country's economic growth. So that's it for the best economic practices of Japan.
Okay, so thank you, Miss. So now we are vision of Japan. So ang political situation is na kuan siya na natunga siya og duha. Ang first one is the political issues and the second one is the political practices. So first is the political issues. Nga ang una nga gi-face sa Japan is the COVID-19 pandemic, which is kaning kabalo na taan ni tanan ngot kay murag every country is naka-experience sila ning COVID-19 pandemic. So as of my knowledge, cut-off date of September 2021, Japan was under the leadership of Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, who succeeded Shinzo Abe in September 2020. So si Suga faced a number of political challenges during his time in office, including the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and economic recovery, as well as several domestic and foreign policy issues. So one of the major domestic issues in Japan at that time was the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. While Japan had initially been praised for its handling of the pandemic, cases began to rise again in the summer of 2021, leading to calls for increased measures to curb the spread of the virus. And also the government also faced criticism over its handling of the Tokyo Olympics which were hailed despite concerns about the spread of virus. So the second one is the rapidly aging population. So mao din tanya tong mao din ni anta akong ingon ganiya like nanas to mo isang dila pero wala na akong nastorya. Ingani dito the rapid aging population. That's why katong nag-imbento slag mga robot para makuha nilang problema sa ilahang country. So again, the second one is the rapidly aging population. So another major issue in Japan was kaning rapidly aging population and declining birth rate, which have put pressure on the country's social welfare system and economy. The government has implemented a number of policies aimed at addressing these issues, including efforts to encourage women to enter the workforce and increasing support for families with with children. So, and the third one is the increasing tensions with China and South Korea. On the foreign policy front, Japan has faced increasing tensions with China and North Korea, as well as ongoing territorial disputes with both countries. The government has also been grappling with the issues of hosting US military bases in Okinawa, which has long been a point of contention between the two countries. And the last one is the climate change, and we all know that bisan kita diri sa Philippines is nag-experience tag climate change. So ang Japan is dili siya wala siya na exempt siya wala siya na I mean maka-experience pa daw ang Japan kay wala exemption ang ang climate change. So ang unang naapektuhan sa climate change is kaning ilahang sa climate change is ang ilang coastal areas. So naka-cause siya og threat sa ilang coastal areas. So, when it comes to the climate crisis, melting ice and rising sea levels got a lot of attention, and for good reason too. More than 600 million people around the world live in coastal regions less than 10 meters above sea level. As a result, many countries are constantly threatened by sea level rise, and in some extreme cases are even heated entirely underwater. So although Japan doesn't face quite this level of threat, rising seas and related impacts are already doing real damage to coastal regions. So for example, katong in September of 2018, naigo sila og typhoon katong gitawag og Jebi. Dayon sa International Airport. Ang kaning Kansai International Airport is a popular gateway to the cities of Kyoto, Osaka, and Kobe. Thousands of passengers were left stranded as ocean water submerged a runway built to be flood-proof. So kato na gani nga runway no kay flood-proof na ganito pero naabtan gyapon siya og ocean water. That was just one headline, a grabbing scene, but overall the typhoon caused over 3 billion in damages spread over hundreds of miles. As others have noted, the event was an unmistakable display of the climate crisis unfolding before us. So, ikaduha nga na threat sa climate um ilahang food security. So, 'di ba ang Japan is kanang um 'di ba ang Japan is fishing pud to ilahang way of living pod, wala to nawala ang ilang fishing. So, fish, one of the Japan's favorite proteins, is also being threatened by climate change. As a World Wildlife Fund spokesperson described, while the waters of Japan are currently considered some of the richest fisheries in the world, research suggests that Japan may face a substantial decline in some fish catches over the 21st century. So, um, dako og problema nga nahatag ang climate change sa Japan. So those are katong duha is mo to siya mean nga naapektuhan sa climate change. So I think that's all for the political issues. And the next one is will be discussed by Miss Largasa.
So, political practices. So, Japan has a parliamentary system with a constitutional monarchy where the ruling party is the Liberal Democratic Party or LDP. So, there are two parts to the government, the House of Representatives and the House of Councilors. So, political parties in Japan have different ideas about how to handle economic, social, and foreign policy issues. However, the LDP or the Liberal Democratic Party has been the strongest party in the Japanese politics for a long time and still has a lot of influence in how the government makes decisions. So when it comes to Japan's political practices, it is characterized by, yes, a parliamentary system with a constitutional monarchy. So the country operates under a democratic framework where citizens exercise their right to vote and participate in the political process. So the political landscape is shaped by a multi-party system with the major political parties competing for seats in the national diet. So consensus building is a key aspect of Japanese political practices. So political leaders strive to reach broad-based agreements and minimize confrontation, prioritizing stability and cooperation. So this consensus-oriented approach is rooted in Japan's cultural and historical context, where social harmony is highly valued. So when it comes to the bureaucracy, plays a significant role in policy making and governance. So career civil servants provide expertise, administrative support, and continuity to elected officials. Collaboration between bureaucrats and politicians ensures efficient decision making and policy implementation. And also, public engagement and participation are encouraged in Japanese politics. So citizens have the right to vote and participate in public discourse on policy issues. So civil society organizations and grassroots movements also play an active role in shaping public opinion and influencing policy decisions. But overall, Japan's political practices emphasize democratic principles, consensus building, bureaucratic efficiency, and public engagement. So these practices contribute to the country's political stability, effective governance, and the promotion of citizen participation in the decision-making process. So that's it for Japan's political practices. So, Ms. Sendo.
Okay, so thank you, Miss. So to sum it all up, Japan is a country located in East Asia, known for its advanced technology, rich culture, and unique traditions. It consists of four main islands: Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Shikoku, as well as numerous smaller islands. The capital city of Japan is Tokyo, which is one of the most populous cities in the world. Other major cities include Osaka, Yokohama, and Nagoya. The population is about 126 million, and Japanese is the official language, and their currency is yen. Japan is known for its high-tech industries, including robotics, automotive manufacturing, and electronics. Japanese companies such as Sony, Toyota, and Mitsubishi are well known worldwide. The country has a rich cultural heritage, including traditional arts such as kabuki theater and tea ceremonies. And also, Japan is also famous for its cuisine, which includes sushi, ramen, and tempura. Um, tourism is an important industry in Japan, with many visitors attracted to the country's natural beauty, historic sites, and modern cities. Japan has a constitutional monarchy with the emperor as a figured head and the prime minister is as the head of the government. The country has a parliamentary system and operates under a democratic constitution. Japan has a strong education system and students receive a high quality education from primary school through university. The literacy rate in Japan is 99%. So overall, Japan is a unique and fascinating country with a rich history, culture, and innovative spirit. So that's all for our report about all about Japan. So thank you, sir, for listening, and thank you to my colleague Miss Largosa, and God bless everyone. Thank you, sir.